Good morning, everyone. Glad to see everyone here with us this morning. And as was announced, we're all meeting in here this morning to hear from one of our mission work, and look forward to the report we have this morning and excited about what's going on in Tanzania. This morning we have Brother Ken Upchurch with us. He's an elder at the Kensington Woods Church of Christ in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. He oversees the mission work there, and that includes the work that's going on in northern Tanzania, and we're part of that work. We support that. They're the sponsoring congregation. Our relationship with Ken began back in 2007, where we met Tim at the polishing the pulpit. Turns out, I found out this morning, he knows Tim's brother-in-law. They're best friends, so it's a small world out there, and he'll probably talk about that a little bit. Anyway, while at the polishing of the pulpit, he shared with Tim the amazing opportunities that are there in Tanzania for spreading the gospel of Christ. And we'll start with a word of prayer, and then we'll turn it over to Ken. Would you pray with me? Our Father in heaven, so thankful for this Lord's Day, thankful for this opportunity to be here. We're thankful for each and every one that's here and their interest in spreading your word and studying your word and sharing it with others. And Father, we're so thankful for Ken and his never-dying effort in the mission field and his ability to be here. Well, thank you for bringing him here safely. We pray that you'll return him home safely as well. And Father, we pray that we'll always want to be better examples for you. In Christ's name we pray, amen. Ken.
I know this congregation has a passion for mission work because you've assisted us in our mission work. And I was talking to one of the brothers out there in the foyer, and y'all are dedicated to mission work. He was telling me about 70% of your budget goes to mission work, and I want to applaud you for that. We feel the same way. We're not only sponsoring this work, but we sponsor a lot of preaching students that go to preaching school. We sponsor missionaries throughout the world, and we feel the same way. Your lesson this morning is taken from Matthew 28, verse 19, which is evangelism. And I'm going to tell you about some evangelism that you've had a part in. And toward the end of the presentation, I have listed some things that you've had a specific input into, which I think will give you a good feeling about what you're doing for the work, but also it will show you exactly what you've done. I think a lot of times we don't share with the congregation as much as we ought to about actually what they are involved in. So I hope to do that this morning and give you a better appreciation for the good that you're doing in Tanzania. This is the Kensington Woods Church of Christ in Hattiesburg. These are the 4 shepherds and their wives. I'm not only a shepherd there, but I'm also a full-time fundraiser for this work. I started raising money for this work in 1998 and went full-time in 2000 when Si went over to Tanzania. If you ever meet Si Stafford, you won't forget him. He's an amazing guy, got an amazing wife, amazing family. He went to Chamala Mission early in the 90s, and they fell in love with Tanzania, and he came back, and his full intention was to go back there. But in the meantime, when he came back, he thought he needed some more education in the Bible, so he went to Brown Trail School of Preaching, and he finished there. He had to get his kids graduated from high school where he could go back overseas, and he came back to Hattiesburg with a vision for this work, and as they say, the rest is history. But he's a wonderful, wonderful individual. I don't know anybody alive or dead that could have done what he did in getting all these facilities built and managed the work the way he's managed it these 13 years that he's been there. since we started the work. But he's an amazing guy. You ever get a chance to meet him, meet him. This is the Moshi Bible School. There wasn't even a church in Moshi, Tanzania in 1999. This is the Arusha Bible School. The reason the configuration of this school is kind of awkward is because this is where the old preacher's home used to be. It's the only land that we could purchase or that we had access to, and we needed to start this Bible school. The two Bible schools that we have are principally for the congregations of the Lord's people. They get more Bible in 2 years going to these Bible schools than they get sitting in the pew in 20 years. And so they've been very, very successful. A lot of people, it's open to the public. Most of the members of the congregation attend it or have attended it. Many of them have gone on to our preacher training school and gone through there, and they're out preaching the gospel. But we've converted a lot of people that came there just to see what was going on, and they took the course because one reason they wanted to learn more about the Bible, but in the process they were converted. This is the Andrew Conley School of Preaching. This is an old picture, and the reason it's an old picture, I'm going to tell you this. I drove hundreds of thousands of miles all over this country, flew all over this country, any way I could get there, anybody that would listen to me, to raise money for this facility and the other facilities that we have. And when this facility was completed, this is the picture that Si sent me. And you know, when you are so involved in something and you have such a passion for something, that when it finally comes to fruition, it just emotionally, I sat and cried at my desk looking at this picture because of all the people that I knew that had such a big part in it. So I've left it in my presentation, and it'll be in the presentation as long as I'm speaking to congregations. But it's a wonderful facility. This picture doesn't show the other dorm that's on the left-hand side. There's another dorm there now. We can house 48 students. This is the director's home. This is where Si and Stephanie and her mother live. It's right next to the school. It's a very nice facility. They have a couple of guest rooms upstairs for visiting preachers that come over and work in the school, and for family that comes over. It's just worked out exactly like we thought, like we'd hoped. I found out one thing about mission work, and I found out one thing about being a Christian. If you dream God's dreams, they always come true, every single one of them. Tanzania is a beautiful place. This is a picture of Mount Kilimanjaro. It's called the Roof of Africa. It's over 19,000 feet tall. As a matter of fact, it's the tallest freestanding mountain in the world. Africa is a huge continent. I have people all the time. I get back from Tanzania and they'll say something like, man, I got a friend of mine who lives in Nigeria. Did you see him when you were over there? Well, Nigeria is about 3,500 miles from where we are. It's just a huge place. And Tanzania is a huge place. Tanzania is about the size of Texas. It's a little bit bigger. We're up in the northern quadrant of the country with our business, what we're doing. So it's a big place. We've expanded out into several other countries around us. We take preachers from anywhere. We give people that are guys that want to learn to preach. We are selective about the ones that we take because they have to be fluent in English. And this last year we opened up a Swahili stream in our school because we were missing out on a lot of guys that were really knowledgeable about the Bible. They just weren't knowledgeable about English. And so we have 2 sets of groups going through the school now. And we're happy about that. In 1998, we had a vision to build 2 Bible schools, and we had a vision to build a preacher's training school, and we had a vision to evangelize Tanzania, East Africa. And so we set about doing exactly that. This is a picture from a hilltop of a Maasai village. They have a lot of these around. We live in Maasai country, and this is where they live. This is how they live. It's a beautiful country. This is Mount Meru, which is, it just dominates the landscape at Arusha. Arusha is 5,000 feet above sea level. Even though it's near the equator, it's pretty cool there year-round. It gets hot in the summertime. It'll get up to 90s, but at nighttime it'll get down in the 60s. And in the winter, which is our summer, is their winter, Tanzanians, when it gets down to 45 or 50 degrees, they've got overcoats and gloves and hats on their head. It just their blood's thin, and they just can't take that cold. But Arusha is a very mild climate, and it's a wonderful place to visit. Lots of wildlife. One thing about Tanzania, there aren't any fences. You can drive to a lot of game parks from Arusha. Arusha has their own game park, just right outside of main town. You go up into Arusha game park, and there's not a fence there. There's not a fence at Marani or any of the other ones. There's not a fence on the Serengeti. These animals are wild, and they just go wherever they want to. And besides that, what are you going to do with a herd of elephants when they get to move anyway? You can't stop them. They do a lot of damage over there too. But this is a young boy, missionary son, and a Tanzanian friend. And this is one of the most beautiful relationships that I've ever seen, and I've been around. I've seen a lot of mission works. I've been involved with a lot of them. But there's a sweetness about the people in Tanzania that you don't find in a lot of places in Africa or in other areas. And this is good representation of that. We know that Jesus is the king of our lives and that this lion is the king of the jungle. But we have some different plans over in Tanzania. This picture is significant to me because I've been to that internet cafe many times when I would go over. I usually go over for about a month each year. I've had some health problems in the last couple of years which kept me from going, but I usually go over for about a month. And it used to be you would always be trying to get to an internet cafe to find out what was happening back home and how your family was and everything. But this picture, those are two Maasai warriors right there. This internet cafe is right around the corner. You got the 21st century colliding with the 19th century, and that's where we are in Tanzania. They're about where we were in 1900. I know that's hard to believe with airplanes and everything, but it really is true. Swahili has no word in it for no. Now, you might say, well, you know, that's a good thing. It is a good thing, except not from a practical standpoint, because Tanzanians will never tell you no, because they don't have a word for it. So if you're building something and you ask one of the fundis, you know, we need to get some trusses. Can we get trusses? Oh yeah, Brother Ken, we can get trusses, no problem. And then they'll call you off about the time you get ready for the trusses and say, by the way, we need to go down and we have to cut these trees, and then we have to take them and we have to have them planed to get the lumber so we can build these trusses. But they don't ever tell you no. It's always, yes, we can do that. So from a practical standpoint, you have to be careful over there. This woman is kneading some bread on a stone. Next door to where she is, you might find a woman that has all the conveniences of home, microwave, washing machine, electricity, running water. I'd say about 95% of the people in Tanzania live in a place that's about 10 by 12. They have no running water, they have no electricity, and a lot of them don't have jobs. It's the fourth poorest country on the face of this globe, and they have more natural resources than you can even imagine. But their government, for years and years, was a socialistic type government. They're now a representative republic, and they're starting to gain on things. They're starting to understand how the game's played, that you got to give to get. Before, anytime you wanted to buy a car, buy a truck, whatever it was, if you bought it outside of the country of Tanzania, if you paid $20,000 for it, when you brought it in the country, it cost you another $20,000. That's not a way to encourage business. So they made a lot of progress, but it's the 19th century versus the 21st century, and it's really strange sometimes. This is Cy and Stephanie Stafford. Like I said, if you ever meet Si, you never forget him. He's one of the greatest men that I know. He just does a terrific job at everything he does, and he's just a great person. Once you meet him, you love him, and he has a sweet wife and a sweet family. This is Jimmy G family. Most of y'all may know about Jimmy G. Jimmy G's got 10 children. He did until one went to college. But he's over at Andrew Conley School of Preaching, and he runs the school for us and does an outstanding job doing that. These are some of our native missionaries, Christopher Wakabanji and Julia, the lady in the red dress, and Paul and Dwani. He also has a wife, children. Y'all pay attention to these names because I'm going to give you a test before you leave. We have a lot of things going in Tanzania, and one of them is the Andrew Conley School of Preaching. We've put out about 90 students through the Andrew Conley School of Preaching so far. We opened it, I think, in 2006, and they're all out preaching. Many of them have gone to other countries. They've established congregations there. But the school has had a major impact on the gospel. And we have a lot of people that come over and help us. We have people like Earl Edwards from Freed Hardeman that come over and teach in the school. People like Neil Pollard. Many gospel preachers that you know by name that come over and help us. And we encourage other people to come over and help us. We have a campaign that starts the end of May and runs through July, where we actually get out and evangelize one-on-one, set up Bible correspondence courses, and what we try to do in those 2 months is we try to get enough work for all the congregations until we have a campaign the next year, and it's working. It's really working well. This has been a real blessing. I don't know how many of y'all know Dr. Danny and his wife, Nancy Smeltzer, but they're from Florence, Alabama, and they worked at Chamala for a number of years, and their dream was always to go back to Tanzania and have their own clinic. And he spent the last 10 or 12 years working and raising the money to build this clinic. He also has a mobile clinic that he can go out, and this clinic is probably about an hour's drive from where the Andrew Conley School of Preaching is. And it's a real blessing for the missionaries to have an American doctor. In fact, it's a blessing in Tanzania to have an American doctor. Nancy is a registered nurse, and they can only see 50 patients a day, and it's not because they don't want to see more, it's because it just absolutely wears them out. They come home about every 3 months totally exhausted. They take a month off and then go back over there. But he and his wife are two of the most noble people that I've ever met in my life. I mean, he's doing this because he wants to help people. They're also great Christians, and it's been a real blessing to our work over there to have an American doctor. We have what's called Safari for Souls, and this happens from May to July. We have different congregations that we go and help, that we evangelize in their area. We have a lot of people that come over and help us. We have not Vacation Bible School, but we have Children's Bible School. They don't have a concept of vacation in Tanzania. Most of them are too busy chasing food, but they do understand Bible school, and so we have Children's Bible School over there. We have men and women's seminars, and some of these seminars are taught by a lot of women that you would know that teach at PTP. They come over with their husbands. Their husbands teach in the School of Preaching, teach short courses for us throughout the year, and their wives come and teach the children and the ladies. This is a group that came over a couple of years ago. We usually have about 100 visitors that come. A lot of them are from Christian universities. Freed Hardeman has helped us tremendously. We have people from Faulkner that come, other places that come over and help us evangelize. One year we passed out literally hand to hand over 1 million tracts on our campaign. And I forget that year what the number was, but we just had a tremendous year. We couldn't do the work that we need to do if people don't come help us, and so they do that. What this whole Tanzania 2000 is about, folks, it's about souls. It's about the same thing that you're doing right here at the Maysville Church of Christ. It's about souls. It's about winning souls, and that's all it's about, is souls. These are some of the congregations that have been established. At the end of this presentation, you'll see some numbers of what we've done through the blessings of God, but these are different congregations across Tanzania and also outside of Tanzania. A lot of the brethren in this country, we do not support native preachers. We just don't support them. We don't think that's a good way to spend the Lord's money. They had a job before they came. We believe in tent making and service, and so we don't. Tanzania 2000 does not support preachers. We support people that teach in the school, and almost all of our schools, except the English side of the Andrew Common School of Preaching, are being taught by Tanzanians in Kiswahili right now, which is one of our goals. But a lot of the brethren in this country want to help them, and they'll go over there and they'll fund a building like at Monduli. Monduli is a larger congregation just up the road from us. This is pronounced Usa River, and when you're over there for about a month, every time you see that sign, you get homesick. At least I do. But it's pronounced Usa River. This is the first congregation in Africa that I ever preached for when I was over there, and it's got a special place, in my heart, and whenever I go back, I always go there. Wanza is clear across the country. It's over clear across the Serengeti. It takes 16 hours to drive there over African roads, and this is the congregation several years ago. We now have 2 missionary families that are over in Wanza, and they're building that work. Kingori is a little congregation that was it was an outgrowth of Usa River, and this was their first building. We gave them $500 to put a roof on it, and they did the rest. And now they've walled it in, and it has a floor in it. It's a pretty nice building. This is Kyoga. This is up on the mountain in Arusha, up on Mount Meru. This congregation, when it first started, met in a goat shed. You may have read in the newsletter about blind man Moses dying here a few months ago. He couldn't make it down the mountain, so he decided to start a congregation there. And over the years, we helped him. He donated some land. We got together and we got a bunch of, I guess you'd call them, well, they were missionaries, but they were building missionaries. It took about 9 guys over there, and in about 11 days we built this building on his place, and that's where the church is now. John McCain, David McCain is Tim's brother-in-law, he was over there on that trip with me, and he's in this picture. This was after the building was finished. In fact, both of David's sons were over there. This is kind of impressive to me. You remember the Arusha Bible School. This is where the Arusha Bible School sits now. In 1983, there were 13 people in the Arusha Church of Christ, and this is where they met. Andrew Conley and Jimmy Judd went to Africa back in the 50s. And Jimmy Judd decided to stay where he was, and Andrew wanted to go up into Tanganyika. It was Tanganyika when he went there. That was before they got their independence. But he went on up there, and the only way he could preach the gospel was if they had some kind of humanitarian work, and so he established the Chamala Mission Hospital, and it's still there, and they have a public school there now. They have a lot of things there now that they didn't have when he was there. But he made the statement to Cy when Cy was over there one time. He said, we're never going to convert Tanzania unless we can get into the cities and we can convert the middle class. And so Cy took that, and this little vision that he had, germinated, and that was the foundation of TZ2000, the vision that Cy had. So this is in 1983. And this is the Arusha congregation in 2006. Now, in 2006, I happened to be preaching that Sunday. And of course, their building is not nearly as big as this. But there were 438 people in it. All the aisles were full. The pulpit was full. There were kids everywhere. You had to preach because there wasn't any way else to get out of there. And it was just amazing how they would sit and how they would listen. And it's amazing how many Tanzanians that we've converted over the years. There wasn't even a congregation of the Lord's people in Moshi in 1999. And this is the Moshi congregation now. They have well over 100 now, and they're growing. The school serves the congregation. They meet in the big meeting room downstairs. We have an apartment there for the guy that directs the school. And so it's worked out really well. This is the clock tower. It's halfway between Johannesburg, South Africa, and Alexandria, Egypt. And every time I drive by this, they have what they call roundabouts. If you've ever been to England or anywhere in the United Kingdom, you'll see these roundabouts. They have roads coming off these roundabouts. It's a good way to direct traffic. I'm surprised we don't have them here. But this is called a clock tower roundabout. Every time I pass this clock, I think about what we're doing in Tanzania, what we're doing at home, what we're doing in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, what we're doing in South Mississippi, what we're doing in this country and throughout the world of going after souls, because we don't know how much time we have. But we know one thing, we know when life is gone, there's no more opportunity. So it always impresses me that time is short. We don't know how short, but we need to be about the Lord's business. This picture is a perfect representation of what Tanzanians are like. They're the most generous people. They can have nothing. You're going to have half of it. If they've got a cookie, they're going to split it with you. If they've got a soft drink, they're going to offer it to you. You go into their house, and I use house not like you and I understand houses, but you go into their place where they live, the same furniture that they sit on during the day is the furniture that they move out of the way and lay a pallet on the floor at night. There's just something about going there and seeing the generosity of those people that makes you want to do a better job helping them. What's God done in Tanzania? He's done a lot. We couldn't have done anything without God blessing this work, and we could have done less if we didn't have congregations like Maysville to help and support us in this work. Just to give you an idea, just Hattiesburg itself, just us, and what we've done in this work is over $3 million in the last 13 years. That's not counting the people like Maysville and the other 54 congregations that help us. That's not counting several hundred individuals that help us. God has blessed us beyond anything I could describe to you whatsoever. He's blessed us, and it's because of people just like you. I hope that you'll do more. I hope that you'll stay on board. I hope that you'll recognize the good that you've done in Tanzania, the souls that you've been responsible for impacting with the gospel. You can't put a price on that. You know, I often tell people, here's the thing. Think about the most exciting day you ever had in your life. Think about all the good things that you have. And then take out your directory and look in your little black book and pick out one of those names that's in there that you'd give up for all the other stuff. And see, none of us would give up any of those names. We wouldn't give up a member of our family. We wouldn't give up a dear friend. We wouldn't give up a dear brother. We wouldn't give any of those people up for anything this world has to offer. And that's exactly what we're doing in Tanzania. We're giving them something that's a whole lot better than bread. We're giving them a chance for eternal life. And that's important. And it's important for you and I to be involved in it. We started out with a 20-year plan. We're 13 years into it. Our mission work is a little bit different than everybody else's mission work because we have an entry date and an exit date. And we fully believe and fully understand and fully know that the Tanzanians are going to be able to take over this work and do this work themselves in 2018. That's our goal. We've accomplished everything we set out to do because the Lord blessed us. And the Lord's not going to deny us on this either because we're trying to do it the right way. These are some of the things that God continues to do. You have a part in these things. You had a part in the schools. You've got a part in training preachers. You've got a part in evangelizing. You've got a part in establishing these congregations. We've established over 150 congregations. Now the congregations that we established are establishing other congregations. Arusha has qualified men to be appointed as elders. They just haven't appointed them yet. Think about that. The church has been in Tanzania for over 50 years. They've never had an elder in the church. Think what that's going to be like. That's amazing. That's amazing that they've grown that much. You know, we teach our young boys at Kensington Woods all the time. We teach them, listen, live your life where you're able to serve. Don't do things that are going to disqualify you from serving as a great deacon, a great Bible teacher, a great elder someday. And the Tanzanians understand that. They're catching on to that. And they're training their children the same way. And we have men that are qualified to be elders. To me, it's just amazing from where we started 13 years ago to where we are now. It really gives me hope that the church is going to do well. It's going to be great as long as the world stands. And I'm excited about it. I'm grateful for it. I'm thankful for the many people, just like the folks sitting in these pews, that have thought enough of other souls to donate to it. I used to be in the paper business, selling paper machines. I mean big paper machines like International Paper, those type companies. And each week, when I started out in the business, I had a fellow tell me one time, he said, listen, he said, you're going to be selling to these people. They have over 500 people every week that tell them they're going to come talk to them about buying something. And he said, what you need to do is if you tell somebody that you're going to be there, then show up. That was the best piece of advice I ever had. And I remember my boss told me, he gave me all the accounts when I broke out in selling. He gave me all the accounts that they didn't have to do any business with. So I had a little hill to begin with. Plus, I didn't know much about the paper business. But I had that one thing that fellow told me. And I remember my boss telling me, he said, well, it may take you a year or two before you get any work. And I said, I'll tell you what, Hoss. I said, if I don't sell something in 90 days, you won't have to worry about putting me on the road. I'll quit. And on the 89th day, I sold a roll repair in Demopolis, Alabama, the Gulf States paper, on the 89th day, because I was getting ready for my speech to my boss to tell him that I was leaving. And I've always had a deep appreciation for Gulf States paper and for Charlie Reed, who was the maintenance guy over there that gave me that job. But the appreciation the Tanzanian people have for us bringing the gospel to them dwarfs anything like that. That's not even on the radar screen. You're doing a great job, folks. You really are. I don't know any other way to say it, but to tell you that you're doing a great job. We thought in 1998 that a new day was dawning, Tanzania, and it is dawning. And we still have work to do yet. And we hope and pray and work and plan that we can finish the work, and we believe that we will. But we certainly can't do it alone, and we certainly appreciate what you've done. You don't get to talk to the individuals or the people that helped you so much. I've written thousands and thousands and thousands of thank you notes over the last 13 years. I've never been able to express in a puny thank you note how much I personally appreciate what y'all have done. And not just you, but all those that have helped us. It's amazing. It's just absolutely amazing. If you could be on the receiving end of the prayers and the love and the sacrifice of literally thousands of Christians, it makes you weep, and it makes you humble, and it makes you thank God that you are able to do what you do, and you want to do it as well as you can do it. Go ye therefore and teach all nations. That's what we're doing, and that's what we're going to keep on doing. And I want to encourage each one of you, especially you young people. You don't have to be young. We've had an 80-year-old go over there. And I want to tell you something else. Earl Edwards not young either. But he goes over and helps us and does a great, fantastic job. A lot of gospel preachers take vacation and take time off to come over and help us. They do a fantastic job of teaching. There are just so many good people that have helped us. But you're not too old, you're not too young to go. You'd be welcomed with open arms. You don't have to worry about whether you're going to be in a safe place. If there's a safe place in Africa, it's Tanzania. You don't have the rhetoric over there that you have like in this country or in Islamic countries. They have 30% Muslims over there, but it's against the law to use any rhetoric that insults people. So consequently, you don't have all this angst. Whatever you want to say about any religion in your own place is one thing, but you can't go out on the street and do it because they'll lock you up. And in a Tanzanian jail, in a prison, if you get any food, if you get anything at all, your family brings it to you. So if you go to jail in Tanzania, it's pretty much a death sentence. But you've helped us, you loved us, and you prayed for us. And I don't know anything else to do but say thank you. I know that's two little words, but I'm a pretty good-sized guy, and I got a pretty good-sized heart, and that comes straight from it. I want to thank you for the opportunity to talk to you. Come see us, come help us, keep helping us, keep loving the lost, keep talking about Jesus, invite your friends, invite your neighbors, invite your family. You don't know when they're leaving this earth, and if they leave this earth unsaved, we don't want to get up there and have them turn around and say, how come you never talked to me? And that's the way I ought to live each day. Take every opportunity that you get. Appreciate it, and thank you, and if you have any questions, I'll be around for a little while. I don't know what else I can tell you except I'm a little biased, but this is one of the greatest mission works that ever has been. And it's continuing on. You're part of it. Thank you. Biggest challenges right now is supporting students. We have room for 48 students, and it costs about $200 a month. That's all inclusive. That includes where they live, their electricity, their food, their whole 9 yards. It's a pretty big deal supporting students. It's at least a $50,000 bill a year And we never have gotten up to 48 students yet, which is what we want. See, the Bible schools are just a day school. They come to class just like you would at college, and then they go home. But the Andrew Connolly School of Preaching, these people leave their families just like a regular preaching school here. They come for 2 years to Arusha, and we send them on one furlough home while they're there. And so we support them. But that's the biggest challenge we've got, is raising student support. In fact, that's what I'm doing. Everything else is paid for. We paid as we went. We didn't build it if we didn't have it. And so everything that we built is all paid for, including the home for the director. And so student support is the biggest challenge, and it's especially a challenge in the economy that we're in right now. Not just for me, but in our work, but for any work. In the Andrew Connolly School of Preaching, we've got 20 students in the Swahili side, and we're always going to have more students in the Swahili side, and I think we've got 12 in the English side. We'll always have more Swahili because they don't have a language barrier there. So we're still lacking some students. And some of them, it's just like with any preaching school, some of them don't make it. Some of them, especially in Andrew Connolly School on the English side, some of them just don't have the English skills to do the work. Anybody else? We've got 4 full-time instructors. All the people that teach in the Swahili side are Tanzanians that have been through the school, and most of them have their master's degree. But we have Jimmy G, and then we have Cy Stafford also teaches in the school, and then we have 2 Tanzanians that also teach in the school. So we've got, I guess, 8 instructors altogether. But we teach short courses throughout the year, and they're set up on a continuing basis. We have different guys that come each year from the United States to come over and help us, and they'll teach 2 short courses while they're there, and they last a week each one. If you come over, you need to stay for 21 days. It takes 4 days traveling, 2 days over and 2 days back, so that about knocks out a week. So you need to come for 21 days if you come. That's what we try to get these preachers to do. Of course, they've got responsibilities back here, and most of them can't do that. But we'd like to have people come to Tanzania and participate in the work, but we also believe that you ought to be able to see a little bit of Tanzania while you're there. So we make arrangements for folks to go on safari and do a few things like that. Well, if you look at a Tanzanian, they're real. I'm a giant over there. They're about this tall. But their age is, it's hard to tell how old they are, but I would say their probably average age is probably 30. They're older guys. I remember Francis Wacheza telling me one time, he said he was 50 years old, and he said, I need to go back up to Uganda, and I need to teach my people before I die, because I'm going to die pretty soon. And of course, we wouldn't think a 50-year-old was old, but he thought he was old. But I'd say about 30. And we have some old guys too. I mean, we have some sure enough old guys that go through, but it's amazing. It's amazing how what they're willing to sacrifice to learn to preach and teach. No. No, we're finished building. This is what we set out to do, and we don't. The one thing we've had to do, we put out a plea for it. We needed to get a big generator, because their power over there is on and off. All they have is hydro. Well, when they don't get rains, you're continually in a brownout, and most of the time it's 16 hours a day with no power. They've discovered a gas field over there that's going to double their output with natural gas, but they haven't got the plant built yet. They've got the gas, but they don't have the plant built, and that's going to help them a lot. But until they get off of this hydro and get on some other source, power is going to be a problem over there. And so we put out a plea to get a pretty good sized KV generator, and we've acquired the funds to do that. So that's going to help the school. We won't be bothered too much by power. But that's all the building we're going to do. I'm like a Christmas turkey. I'm done. Thank you.